Hello, my name is Francis Fox, and I'm a trained government remote viewer, uh, also trained in interspecies communication. All my psychic skills have been developed. I'm not an astrologer, but that's not a psychic skill. Even though if you're a psychic and you're an astrologer, you're much better than if you're just an astrologer. Psychic abilities augment your skills in whatever field you are. When you have honored and honed your psychic abilities, which in the business world is called creativity, you're going to be a better business person. And my husband said he didn't believe in psychics, but that I could see things coming down the pike before they were coming down the pike. That was his way of acknowledging something. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and start with the United States map. Honestly, if I didn't know what I know and I wasn't as secure in my knowledge because it's been decades and under conditions of extreme stress, wars, all sorts of government changes, unexpected government changes, threats, violence, the murder of my first child when I was pregnant with the child, the kidnapping of my second child. If I wasn't as secure, I would be not showing you the map because it doesn't seem to match the reality today. But this is not mapping the reality today, what I show you today and all the other days. It is showing you the energies, what's in the other dimensions, what's coming forward. What you see today is a manifestation of what has already happened in the other dimensions. So if you get a map of the energies and it looks great, then you can go ahead and give your party because that's coming up. If you have a map, whether it's your aura, your chakras, your business in a business consulting setting, and it doesn't look good, you're going to have troubles. But the good news is that in the other dimensions, it's so much easier to take care of than if it wasn't manifested reality. So let's go ahead into the map. And I should have it up here. I do. It looks great. I mean, it looks like a kid going crazy with coloring pencils. And yes, I have coloring pencils, but I am sketching what I get. Very heart centered. The heart is very big and pink. Something going on with Kansas. Then we have a spiraling counterclockwise of Orn energy, which is the energy of creativity and of the sacred. Counterclockwise means grounding of creativity and energy of the sacred, of the sacral of manifestation. Then we have the lines that go across it are wavy. That's the frequency that the United States is vibrating at, which is Nile green, which is the heart. I don't get it. And you go, okay, well, but then you go up and you see the frequency that Canada is vibrating on is not a heart centered frequency. It's more like red, like anger, frustration. And then I had some words that came, and I always write them down. In terms of Canada, there's been so much lying, they don't know how to fix it. How do they fix all the lying? I really don't know anything about the politics in Canada. Nothing, zero. This is what has come out in the analysis of the other dimensions. You have the pyramids coming up in the Gulf of America. You have pink and green energy in Florida and Texas. I know you guys. Oh, Francis, you're in love with Elon. You're in love with Trump. I am sketching what's in the other dimensions. I don't understand why I'm not sketching red in California, red in the Northeast, but I'm not. But then the whole thing with the riots, settle down. Yes, there's stuff going on still. There's a lot of unhappy people. But again, I don't understand. I'm not focused on Trump and Elon. I'm focused on, I have very severe training and I'm following my protocol, and this is what I get. I also get that Mexico's a mess, but Mexico is astrologically Virgo. They're not having an easy time of it at all. Okay? The United States is astrologically a Cancer, And Cancer, astrologically, the planets are favoring Cancer. The United States is Cancer, Elon's Cancer, I'm Cancer, Colombia, the country of Colombia is Cancer. Now, Colombia is going through a lot. They have a huge haunting, a huge black eye, big black eye, which is of a spirit over it. Now, in 48, Colombia took on the excess violence of Jerusalem. I didn't think that would happen again. Maybe that's why Colombia is such a mess in the other dimensions, what I sketch. Okay? Then I put something crazy and I thought, I'm not going to put that down. But once I start to monitor, Fort Knox shutting down, I don't know what that is. So the United States is very grounded, and it's grounded in sacral energy, which is a second chakra, holy manifestation. This is great. And then you have the Galactic Federation with the triangle that's there. I wasn't going to sketch it because I didn't feel it. And then I said, do we still have that protection? Yes. So I went ahead and sketched it. I didn't want to have to put so much down on um, on the map, because then it just looks like a little kid coloring got a little bit out of control, over enthusiasm. And then I decided I was going to do Miami, being that I live here and there's so much happening. I'm going to say, as part of the metaphysical gossip, that there are people who must be exhausted from all the shredding of all of the documents all over South Florida. I don't know if in particular Miami. And I know that there's companies that will come and take your documents and shred them. But I don't think these people are calling companies to shred their documents. I think they don't want anybody to see what's on those documents. We're talking lawyer's office, we're talking the courthouse, we're talking the, what do you call it? The town halls of Miami. You've got Coral Gables and Miami, which is in Coconut Grove. I'm not sure they're going home at night. I think they're staying behind and they're shredding documents. There's a lot going on. And I looked for a map for Miami and I couldn't find one in the time that I had. I'm sure that if I looked enough, I would have found it. But I just, you know what? Let's do Florida. This is interesting. You have a section of Florida that is haunted, that is cursed, black magic. But then you have ships waiting here. Now, I decided to get a map that doesn't have any names on it so that I wouldn't be, maybe my eye would catch and I would, no, just whatever. I don't know what those areas are, but it should be interesting. Now, supposedly in Florida, around in that area, they have sex trafficking tunnels that apparently a lot of people know about. I don't know if that's been looked into. I find it very interesting, everything that's being found out in Florida and how cooperative the police are. And now they're finding police captains and chiefs that have been involved in crap. I could have told you that. Anybody in Miami could have told you that. If you have a problem, don't go to the police. Don't go to the police. They're part of the problem. So I don't know what that is, but there are ships waiting. That I found interesting. Waiting for what? Maybe they're waiting for the sex trafficking victims. I have no idea. So you know that I'm stuck at home and I spend too much of my day in between when I eat and when I'm on the computer, which I cannot sit here all day long. It's not good. It's also right next to my router. And so I shouldn't spend that much time there. I really should have either moved the router or moved my computer. So anyway, so I spend time on my big screen computer and I look at a lot of tarot card readings. These people don't know me. I just click, click, click. They don't know who I am. And they're talking an awful lot about people, the people who have stolen money of mine. Apparently, there's an inheritance, a big inheritance, and that they have deviated, they've changed the will. I know it sounds like the Wild West, which is what Miami is. But it is in so many, I would say that I've probably seen it in 100 different readings. These people don't know me. They don't know I'm from Miami. They don't know me from anybody. They're generic readings. I think it's the law of resonance because it's, anyway. And they're talking about how my enemies are trying to and have tried to set me up, putting up cameras to see if they can catch me doing something bad. I don't do anything. The worst thing that I do is I watch too much tarot card readings. Okay? I don't have anything else to do, and I can't seem to enjoy movies very much because there's so much negative emotion and it affects me a lot. Apparently, in acupuncture, there's something called your heart protector, some acupuncture meridians, and apparently mine is really broken and needs a lot of work. But that makes sense. So I can't watch things with a lot of emotion. I just can't. It's too painful. The tarot card readers are easier. I just go, oh, that's not about me. Ta ta. They're talking about being set up. Okay, well, they're going to have a hard time because since August, I haven't moved. And before that, I barely moved out of my home. But then I remembered when I moved into the people that sex traffic me are older Latin men. So they are very turns out my handler has sex with men, but God, let nobody find that out. He'd die. He'd prefer to admit to murdering somebody than to admit to being gay. And maybe he's not gay, he's bisexual. Who the hell knows? It doesn't really matter. So I remembered that when I moved to this community, there was a person here who I saw a lot. And when I got here initially, and I started thinking about it again lately, she would wear, she obviously had a breast job, and she would wear blouses that were so incredibly transparent and so incredibly worn to be able to, for us to see her really, they look very attractive, her breasts. Store bought is a lot of times more attractive than what you have naturally, especially if they haven't aged because they're brand new. And I don't know if hers were brand new. I have no idea. But I remember thinking, why is she dressing like that in front of the movers? Like when I moved in. And why is she dressing like that? She has a neighbor and who she would like to be friendly with. And I said to her one day, your neighbor is never going to invite you to a barbecue or any place. His wife is not going to let him. And she went, why not? I said, look at the way you run around. And then I realized she stopped doing that. And it wasn't until today I went, oh, because according to the tarot card readings, somebody was paid to set me up. And I thought they were probably trying to set her up, having to do with me being gay, which I'm not, because there's no other explanation. After a while, she stopped showing her. I'm talking about, it was so obvious she wanted. I didn't think it was me. I thought it was the moving people. I thought it was in case somebody showed up. I thought she always dressed like that, but she doesn't anymore. I don't know if she was trying to set me up, but it was very interesting. And one of the reasons I'm saying this is this whole thing with AI, this is really scary. Across the board, it is scary. Now, switching the subject a little, staying on AI, I wanted to get some clips done, and they were $6 a clip. Okay, but I needed 12. Well, 6 times 12, what, 72, I think? I don't know. Whatever. My math is not so great. Okay, but it was weekly. Okay, that's one little piece of my social media. Then I have all the rest I pay for. So I didn't do it. So I'm on my platform and they do clips. For $19 a month, they will do, I think, 6 clips on on every video. I do 30 videos. So for $19, 30 videos times 6 versus $6 per video. Well, I can now see why they say a significant percentage of the population is going to get left without jobs. The clips are pretty good. They're not perfect, but who has time for perfect? Things that have to be done the volume you have to put up to keep up with social media, it's like unbelievable. So the AI thing is important. Now, because of that, and because I have the people that do graphics for me, and I have told them I don't want any AI. Okay, thinking I can't tell. And then one of the people said, well, I can't do it even for the text. I don't want AI. I said, well, that was a little bit naive of me. because I don't think there's going to be anything that's going to stand between an employee or a person looking to get something done and their use of AI. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. AI is going to take over. Here's the problem with AI. You know the movie The Matrix, and how I have seen and I take care of that's in the movie. Those implants are real, they're true, they happen. That's why the movie resonated so much. And I actually, when I actually take care of that in the heart chakra and in the liver for free Mondays and Tuesdays. And then I have workshops. And the first thing that I do is to cut the matrix implants and the parasites, whatever. Um, AI, every piece of AI has a matrix implant. What is a matrix implant? It is something that hooks, it's a channel, and it's channeling energy into. Think about it. Everything that's AI is a conduit to another planet that has very bad intentions with us. And how do they get us hooked to that conduit? By making something so beautiful and also including a type of black magic that's called endulzamiento. I'm not sure I pronounced it correctly in Spanish. Spanish is my second language. And endulzamiento is it's like a curse, even though the people that use it don't consider it a curse, to where they make you fall in love with them or love what you're seeing. You know the story, but I need to repeat it. When I started with X a year ago, year and a half ago, whatever, somebody did a dolphin post. The photograph was stunning. I was like, oh my God. I said to him, please, may I buy this from you? He said, no, you can have it. It was so stunning and so beautiful. You can have it. And then he told me it was AI generated after he had given it to me and I have it. And then I was hooked on it because that photograph, that AI generated graphic of a dolphin has an energy to where I want to eat it. I want to go into it. It's pulling me in. Actually, I didn't know it was AI. I just was like hooked on that picture. Okay, I'm hooked on dolphins. It's a different hook. I was thinking about it and I said, you know what? I got back with a guy and I said, where'd you get it from? He said, no, it's AI generated. It's okay. I went, oh my God, we are in trouble. We are in trouble. Not the financial part of it. That's a problem. You can get AI. I had somebody that turned in a document to me. I went, wow, this is so incredible. I didn't know you could write like this. They said, no, I can't. That's AI. I felt like slapping them. So the AI, everything AI is a portal. And I need to give me a second because I want to ask right now because I think, but I need to make sure I'm not making a mistake. Okay. The AI products are a portal to Orion and to another planet. They're not giving me what the other planet is, but I will ask later. And I thought it was Orion. Orion is the planet where, if you go to the future and look at the history of planet Earth, it will say that Orion took down planet Earth. And then, if you want to get a little bit crazy, and I don't want you to get crazy, I want you to be grounded and landed in this metaphysical stuff. But you want to get a little bit crazy. I met somebody at a party and I said to her, you're from Orion and you came from the past to help out now. And she went, oh, yeah, I've heard that before. And I didn't even know what the words out of my mouth were. Apparently, Orion takes us down. Future's elastic and plastic, that can change. But then, after it happens, they become sorry. So then they come back to the past. And you go, okay, Francis, next, please. There is no time once you leave the physical dimension. Now, how can that be? Well, I got to ask you, how can it be that we're so tied down by time in the physical dimension? There is no time in the other dimensions. That's why once you are liberated from your physical body, your spirit can be 18 years old. But when you died, you were 89. And a wreck of a body compared to an 18-year-old. But in the other world, you can be 18. There is no time in the other dimensions. There's also no space. There's no measurements. There's no weight. There's no physical. So AI is a portal to the planet that took us down. And if you pay attention, except almost don't want to tell you to do that, but if you get something that you like, that's AI, like a picture, not a document. I've not done it with a document. Just kind of sit there, and you may feel yourself drawn into it. That's the whole point. To take you out of here, and then you're substituted with something that wasn't you. The whole thing with AI is terrifying. It's scary. Okay, what's the good news? The good news is we're already in the process of ascension. We've done a big piece of it. A lot of us is not here anymore, but is in other dimensions in a much better place. And there's like apparently a little cleanup act going. We're finishing tying up of ends that may or may not get tied up on the life that we're having on the physical dimension that we're all familiar with. So when I get like, oh my God, I remember we already did this. It's going to be okay, but it's going to be a mess for a lot of people that don't have the frequency shift to to resonate with the part of the Earth population that is going to go to that second planet. Oh, Francis went crazy. There's two planets. I understand it's in the Bible, but I don't really know. I can tell you that I said this years ago, and I did not like when it came out of my mouth because it sounds crazy. And then it turns out that a gazillion people are saying the same thing and seeing the same thing, that the earth divides into two different resonances, the division of light and dark, and they can't stay in the same place. We can't stay here with a frequency that's good, where we woke up and we're changing and and then with people that are getting heavier by the day because they haven't done any inner work, outer work. They're just stumbling around, complaining and feeling lost in whatever. Feeling lost is okay because then there's an opportunity to say, I have to make changes. Anyway, the AI thing is really scary. Just the thing with the clips. I'm going to be able to have I do a lot of chats. I'm going to be able to have a gazillion clips out there. It's almost like not fair, unnatural, too much. If I didn't know anything, I would say, oh my God, this is a gift, which is what everybody is looking at in terms of AI being a gift. It makes things so much easier. It's going to take down the economy because people are going to be left without work. Now, we have a woman that's in the news a lot today. I think she's a mayor of New York. I'm not sure. But they have photographs of her. She's in press conferences and clips. And her left eye is almost closed. Well, left eye is the left eye of Horus, which is associated with your astral spirit, which is your emotional body. And hers is closed. And a lot of people are limping emotionally, and you can see their left eye is limping. Now, mine would be limping if I wasn't sleeping with castor oil every night with eye mask and castor oil every night. Believe me. But somebody said Botox face. She apparently had applied Botox in her forehead. This is not good. Okay, why is it not good? Because everybody's making fun of her. And that's not going to go away. That's not good if she's a political leader. But what's worse than that is when you apply Botox, you are cutting the meridian channels, the meridians, the flow of electricity, which is basically your health in whatever area. And here it's the third eye, which is where there's wisdom, which is why it's so upsetting when all of you, oh, the third eye is not good. That's where wisdom is. Once you have all that information that third eye gives you, you kind of know what's going on. And then you're not angry anymore. You understand. Somebody does something awful and you go, God, he must have really had something awful happen to him for him to do that, rather than take him down. The being able to understand, instinctive knowing, wisdom is in the third eye. This woman, I think she's a mayor of New York. Her third eye, she canceled it out. Now, I know this because I know it, but I also know it because somebody that I know said to me years ago, I have to ask you a question. I said, okay. He said, I'm having these really weird headaches. And I went, did you do something to your head? I mean, and she said, well, I did Botox in my forehead. I said, oh, you nixed out the natural flow of energy, of electrical energy, which is immune system in your forehead and your third eye. And she said, what do I do? I have no idea. Can you reverse that? I have no idea. I think the Botox goes away after a while, and I'm assuming that that's what she did. But this woman today, all day long, I've been looking at her poor face. So she's making decisions for, I think it's a mayor, it's either the governor or the mayor of New York City. She's making big decisions and she's limping because she wanted to beautify. Now, the only thing that I have done to my face, just out of, and it's interesting, was here. And somebody insisted that I needed to have a filling. And it was at a time in which I was very bitter. So, and I'm sure that my lines said, okay. And then they injected something. It was $700 for a little injection there. Okay, yeah, it kind of looks better. It's not natural. It's not natural. And I'm not saying it because everything should be natural. You do not want to interfere with your meridian system. Your meridian system is part of your his body, which is your immune system. They used to call it your health aura. So basically, if you're doing stuff here, you're nixing out your ability to have wisdom. That's why we need to know about the other dimensions and we need to know about the bodies. So I did do a map of the Mideast, but I don't get it. Now, this is Syria. Why is there all that black magic on Syria? I have no idea. And Israel, this is a piece of magic to pull something away. It's called, actually, I'm not sure of the name, what the people in the business would call it. But like if you're a couple and somebody wants to pull the guy away from the female in order to trap the guy into marriage or a relationship or whatever, what they do is they put like a net over them and pull them away in the other dimensions. That's what this is. So somebody's trying to pull away Israel. I cannot interpret it. I'm not going to interpret it. It's interesting that Syria would have so much black magic. Maybe somebody is trying for Syria not to not mobilize. I don't know. So, with everything that's coming out, going back again to how there is apparently several people trying to set me up for me to look like I committed some kind of a crime or I'm some kind of a god awful person. And again, these men who sex traffic me are old, and I guess they're not updated. So let's say I was gay, which I'm not, or let's say that they were able to prove whatever that I'm gay, which I'm not, but they were able, whatever, set it up. So it doesn't matter. I mean, so first place, you just have to ask other people, and they will tell you, no, I don't think so. But I think maybe I'm saying this because these people are so desperate. They spend their whole time trying to plan how to take me down, which I think same thing happens with Trump, except he's a lot more, obviously. important than I am. So it's a lot more people and a lot more involved. Um, but okay, so let's go ahead and do a mantra, and we're going to do the mantra for peace, the one where I showed you the sketches, and it would be nice if all of this could end soon and we could all get back to enjoying each other and having parties and meeting new people and say, hey, why don't you come over for a barbecue, or why don't you come over and let's have a drink or a glass of wine. Um, we're not there. I also have several people around me, and I'm saying it, and in terms of identifying themselves, it's mainly my mantristas that are here on the chat. But I have several mantristas that I've always looked at and understood that it feels like they are watching and trying to endulzarme, sweeten me up so that I'll be very accepting of them and work with them and pay attention to them, maybe share stuff with them, which I don't do. End up when you're in my position and whatever, I'm sure a lot of you identify with it, you just end up shutting down because people are in weird places. Anyway, they've become a little bit active, starting asking interesting questions. And today in my chat at 2, somebody asked me what my relationship was with the government. Well, everybody basically knows. But what was interesting is that my chat started to glitch. And people were saying, I can't hear the audio with the internet. So we are watched minute to minute. It's getting a little bit boring. Let's go ahead and do the mantra. And the mantra is, please God. Interesting. Something weird happened here when I moved quickly. Almost like my physical face is not aligned with my astral face. Okay, so it's please God. Let me get it down first so I don't make a gazillion mistakes. Man. Okay, this is the mantra. By the way, I'm feeling a little bit bored. So if you're feeling bored listening to me, transference of energy, I'm feeling a little bit bored. This needs to shift. We need to get into more exciting things. Okay, here we go. The mantras are repeated in silence and you expel your breath through your mouth. Tucker Carlson is listening to my chats. This is good. I like him. Adam Schiff, update. Maybe I finished with him. He also had the black magic uh, protection. Um, who is the other person? Excuse me 1 second. I don't remember what country his protection was. These heavy duty people that work with black magic, they have protections which take, I think it's a center axis. It may just be some of their mind strings, and they can extend forever, including to other galaxies. And we all have 172,000 of them. His extended, I think it was to Peru. They have a lot of incredible black magicians there. And what they do is they take these mind streams and they do ceremonies. I don't know what they do in the ceremonies. I don't know if I don't know. I never look at them because they're usually, or too many times they're god awful. And they bury it at underneath the roots of substantial trees in like mountains, earth, earth, earth. And then they do the ceremony of grounding and protection. So you knock somebody down with whatever, with bad news, with taking away the job, and they pop right back up again. So how could they get back up again? Nobody would get back up again from that. And they're like invincible. Now, if we look at Fidel Castro, there were, I don't know, 80 attempts on his life just by the US intelligence. They never got him. And I have to assume, I've never looked at it, I have to assume he had incredible protection. And when I first heard that years ago, I was like, yeah, okay, yeah, okay. I don't think they really wanted to take him down. I believe it today because of what I see of the people in Miami that are into all of that, and how could they take over? How could they pull hoodwink even Washington? Hoodwink is a good word. By the way, I was told, this is gossip, it may not be true. I was told that Fidel Castro had expressed the fact that he did not want to pass until the American public found out who killed Kennedy. Interesting. I think a lot of people want for that to be cleaned up. So here's the same music that we're supposed to be using with this mantra that's for world peace, but it can also be for the peace in your home or in your workplace. Okay? 7 minutes. This is a sketch of a person doing this same mantra with this same sensory video. And when she did it, we got the green canopy around her mind strings. And all of a sudden, I could see a spirit that's no longer able to reach her because of this mantra together with the music. Okay, this gets a little bit more interesting. I put this map out a year ago. I don't know. It was hurricane season. And it turned out that there were several hurricanes that Charlie, Francis, and Jean that intersected here next to Tampa. Now, natural catastrophes are Mother Earth helping humans by clearing away bad energy. Yeah, a lot of people can die and things get destroyed, but you're looking at it with a very small lens. You need to widen your lens and go, oh, they prevented something bigger, or this washed out what wasn't good, and now good stuff can happen. It doesn't really matter how you look at it. This has been known for centuries. Natural disasters are not gods that are punishing us, but are actually the elements trying to create a balance of elements. Okay, so I that is a map that you've seen several times before. Let me take this out of the way. Okay? But look at the map I did today, which I was not giving it very much importance. And I don't know if I can get them both on at the same time. I guess I would have to show it here. There. Is this flipped? Okay. And then this is Tampa, where it indents. And this says ships waiting. And then this is black magic. This section, which is basically that section. Is it exactly that? I think so. So I sketched this today. Okay, so there's black magic. There's always black magic. That's why you guys really need to get educated. You need to become spiritually sophisticated. And most of you are not. But your enemies are. Rare earths are important. Gold is important. There's nobody that goes near natural resources of that type that does not have to defend themselves and is not knowledgeable about black magic, or they won't make it. I have personal experience, plus I have looked at it for other people. So you really need to get not updated, you need to get educated, you need to become spiritually sophisticated. When I came up with that phrase several years ago, everybody thought it was awful. Spiritually sophisticated. What's that? Well, what is it? You put as the head of the US intelligence a guy that was spiritually sophisticated and evil intended, Adam Schiff. And look where that got us. You know how many people are going to go down because he knew how to mind control them? It's kind of It's not fair, but it is a reality. So get updated. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to teach you what I know from experience, what I have learned, what I've observed, and then my conclusions, and you have to reach your own conclusions. And I came into this incarnation to teach people white magic. It's not to go against black magic or go against those people. This is the stuff that's blocking me from teaching you white magic, being able to stay up and available and alive and operational and being able to reach people, which I can't at this point, but I will. So spiritually sophisticated, becoming spiritual sophisticated needs to be your goal. But this is interesting because this area is where there's supposed to be tunnels for sex trafficking. And then and I wasn't thinking that when I do this, I'm not thinking. I'm not supposed to be thinking. I'm just supposed to be documenting on paper an intuitive flow. And I've done this since I was a child. Okay. Ships waiting. What's that? So that's it for today. Hopefully you're not bored. But you know, when I said I was feeling bored, you might be feeling bored. Somebody's watching this and is bored. Or maybe several people think I'm going to give them more juicy stuff, or I'm going to say more about Schiff and other people in the government, and I'm going to unmask other people. I'm not here to unmask people. The only reason I started talking about Adam Schiff was because of what he was doing to me, which is showing up in the astral plane to implant his mind streams in me to feed off of my energy, which apparently is very, very strong. Okay, so we will see you again. Bye.